says, I can't imagine that this Gilrind hides her feelings readily, so probably doesn't take an elvish lore master to pick up on her emotions. I agree. Yes, Karita, absolutely.
I don't want to make her seem wanton, right? Like I don't want her to make it seem like she feels like she can just kind of
like she has no decorum,
right? Yeah.
No. But she can be mildly Italian.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what your last name is. I was doing that on purpose.
I'm not the only one here either.
I know.
Okay. So
I know. I'm obnoxious. I apologize.
That's
my point is that I think that she can be open without being
right.
Yeah.
Well, I would actually specifically argue against that stereotype. Because I feel like that's not giving her enough credit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like she would kind of be more withdrawn, specifically because she's alone and kind of not.
We can definitely have her
know how she's feeling, but is also maybe not necessarily used to hiding her feelings. I mean,
and the elves are not. We don't see them.
I want more of the tra-la-la-lolly elves who are happy all the time and kind of dorky and don't really pay attention to crap like that. You know what I mean?
We can put them in this episode because there can be random background elves in the Hall of Fire.
Oh yeah, there absolutely should be.
Yeah.
Cavorting. Yeah. I demand that there be cavorting among the elves in the background.
Okay,
it can definitely be done. And by the way, Karita, who is definitely not Italian by her last name, although it could be a married name, I don't know, says that she is a strong emoter herself. Just saying.
Don't have to be.
I was.
Plus
it's
one.
Okay. It's okay. We know how we are. It's okay. You know how they are, yeah. We know.
Which in Lord of the Rings should talk with their hands is what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
I think it was in Bakshi's film that the Rivendell elves do dance on the tables a little bit. Like not entirely. They're not like doing a chorus line on the table, but like an elf runs in and like jumps on the bench and then up on the table and then like runs down or whatever. So it's the background elves in the Hall of Fire and Bakshi are definitely
look, being reminded frequently by my girlfriend that feet are dirty. I can't even cross my legs when we're sitting together on the couch watching television, especially if there's food anywhere close by.
Is your girlfriend wouldn't have to be Taiwanese, would she?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, my wife has a thing about if I put a pair of shoes on top of a pair of shoes, she loses it.
Yeah, do not do that ever. So I'm a little bit paranoid about feet and eating places. Feet do not belong on tables. I have been
the Hall of Fire is not for eating, so I don't know why there's tables.
And elves never have dirty feet. So anyway,
that's not correct. Everyone has dirty feet.
Anyway, more importantly, so
nothing could be more important than feet.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
Anyway,
okay, so cavorting elves in the background.
Yes, so cavorting elves in the background, and Ian is a big fan of the Tralala elves. We need the frolics, absolutely. And in Almoran, where our story is beginning, where are we beginning? What are we doing here?
What did the discussion look like? Briefly?
Are we in planning? Are we in the planning?
What did the discussion about the lamps look like? Who decided that we should have the light gathered?
Ollie is the driving force behind the lamps at this point.
Okay.
And
why
it was his suggestion, I think is what we came up to, right?
Well, because he's the builder. He's the builder guy. And what we did was we had him and Melkor working together to stop the onset of the glacial ice age thing.
Okay, that's kind of neat.
And so after that, Then we go to the conversation between Melkor and Ulmo. And then by the time Melkor gets back to Almarin, Aule's like, hey, we were working together on all this stuff, and I have this great idea. This is what we're going to do. And we have this set idea that in the council chamber in Valar, rather than being like the Ring of Doom, where they're pronouncing doom on people standing below them, it's more of a round table. Yeah. But on the table, they're able to depict a visual representation of Arda.
That's because, kind of fun.
Yeah, we thought so.
Yeah, I like that.
And so, so Aule is like, hey, and this is what they're gonna look like, and he displays it on the table, and you see them on the, which is probably the only time we're actually gonna see them where they're supposed to be.
So to me, the angle for Aule is kind of based on what you're talking about with the onset of the Ice Age and whatnot. It seems to be that he is trying to put something in place that will generate not just light but heat to kind of keep the ice back. Okay. Yeah, that works for me. And
the idea is to help out Yavanna's plants and animals who need light.
Right. Yes. And then.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Him and Yavanna are actually Yavanna's in on this too, because like we were talking and we thought it would be really cool to have these big light things in the sky, and
and she's like, well, I think that could be Melkor's angle, that he's like, well, it doesn't just have to generate heat; it should generate light. Mm-hmm. It should light and then Yavanna's like, oh man, I need that so bad. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about in the first episode, she makes a tree. I think the tree needs to be kind of small and sickly. It still should fall over, like we discussed, but it can't be this mighty oak.
Yeah, I was thinking that it should be like a sapling. Yeah.
Just kind of.
I was thinking about that earlier today too. Yes.
So we'll have to make sure that we put that little tidbit back in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
But
change the word tree to sapling in the notes.
Yeah. So if that's the angle, then Melkor should be kind of like, you know what? I love the stars and everything, but this is getting out of control. Like everything's dark, everything's kind of bleh. We gotta do something about that. We gotta make it nice and bright and pretty.
We gotta make it nice. Put out a spread.
I would love for him to actually reference the music at this point, where he's like, "Don't you remember in the music it said?"
Was it dark in the music? It doesn't sound. I don't remember it being dark all the time in the music.
Not all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because this is like the first moment where this is like the only time where he can reference the music and be like, "Yeah, you remember the music?"
Except with Ulmo.
Yeah, he actually just did that in the conversation with Ulmo. So
yeah, that's a good point. Well, forget it then. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's not a bad idea though.
It's still,
because
it would be a follow-up to that.
Using
the music as he can possibly get, because basically after this episode, he's never gonna say it again. Right?
Well, he's basically trying to manipulate. He's using the music to get what he wants.
He wants, to get what he wants.
Right.
And
okay. So.
Next episode is when we start emphasizing that he's like, no, these are my lamps.
Yeah.
Right? So once I'm involved, it's mine.
Do we need to reintroduce the conversation of the Valar, or can we go right into, and their construction has begun on the lamps? Like, are they already in the process of working and gathering the light and everything, or is this they're still in the council chamber talking?
I feel like we have to go back to the council chamber because Gilryan doesn't know about the lamps yet, right?
Does she need to for the story to reach her? Does she need to know what it is that they're doing? Because the part that's for her is the rescue of Nessa.
Okay, let's not worry about what Gilryan knows. Let's worry about what our audience knows.
Yeah.
Do we need to tell the audience what we're doing?
So then Elrond needs to briefly recap. Like I'm comfortable kind of going. Like she knows of the lamps. I can give her.
Does she though? Does she?
She's
one of the Dunedain, but she's not royal.
Well, here's where I'm coming from. If this story is for her benefit, and he starts talking about the lamps,
the story of the lamps is really more for Estelle to understand.
Right, but she's gonna react to the story of the lamps and be like, "This is what are you doing?" what is this, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of needs
the fact that she has no idea what's going on might actually exacerbate that and help that situation more than hurt it.
He kind of looks like a total idiot. You know what I mean? Like he can't possibly, if she actually doesn't know anything about the lamps at all, like she's never heard of them, then I feel like he kind of needs to be like, if this is going to be good for her, then he needs to sort of at least drop a reference like, so there are lamps somewhere that used to be, and you know what I mean?
The thing is, though, usually when people object to them, when am I ever going to need to know this?
Right.
It's because it's something that they don't know much about.
Right.
Like the people who say that are not the ones who are experts in that.
Like knowing that the lamps existed at one point is very different from knowing the story of the lamps, right?
Right.
Like I know that there was.
I don't think we need to really address whether or not she knew that had ever heard of the lamps or not.
Yeah.
I don't think that we even need to that doesn't even need to come up because it's really not. It's not important to the telling the story. It's not important to the audience. They don't care whether she's ever heard of this or not.
Shouldn't they care?
We should know because you're always supposed to know the knowledge level of your character.
I would say that she may have heard of them, but
I know
she
that
didn't
the
know
Visigoths were a tribe that existed during the time of ancient Rome, but that's pretty much all I know about them, right? Like
okay, so we're assuming that level of knowledge.
Yeah,
exactly. Like in the beginning there were lamps.
Like way back when there were some people who made pyramids, which is about
lamps, and then the lamps were destroyed, and that's pretty much all she knows about.
Right. It's like the
But that's more than any Hobbit knows. I mean, keep in mind, no Hobbit has ever heard of these lands.
Right.
So there's knowledge in Middle Earth, and not everybody knows.
I'm willing to give her that she kind of knows about Iluvatar. She's heard of the Valar, but they're throwaway references in her Bible that she doesn't really. That's not the area that she's concerned with, you know.
Right.
Like there are prayers that she knows. Maybe she knows the names of the Valar and some of their experts, and that's it.
It would be hard to think that she's never heard of Elbereth.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so maybe we open up in Almaren, not in Almaren, but in
the initial construction.
Right, in Arda, as I like to use with my nonsensical reference to the story.
Ancient Arda.
In ancient Arda, thank you. Ancient Arda. We go back to we start in ancient Arda, maybe with the lamps under construction.
Primordial.
Which I do want it to be a little primordial. I want there to be like prehistoric stuff in Arda.
Absolutely.
A little bit. Yeah. Not like 100%, but at least a little bit.
Well, I've expressed my desire for Melkor to have dinosaurs and stuff in his court of beasts.
Yes.
But that's after things get like twisted. I'm interested in some like real legit. Yavanna was putting stuff together, and we got dinosaurs out.
Yeah.
I mean,
primarily plant eaters.
Yes, she does nice, friendly, cute little dinosaurs, and then Melkor destroys them.
Yeah.
And twists.
We have compies. We have compies now, and Melkor turns them into a T-Rex.
I don't want the carnivores to expressly be Melkor's, domain.
Agreed.
But
I do get annoyed with people who don't recognize that Circle of Life is a normal thing. And obviously, Yavanna, of all people, knows all about the Circle of Life.
But the Tyrannosaurus Rex, right? Well, I mean, he was supposed to be more of a scavenger, but whatever. You get
it depends on who you ask these days.
Murder beasts.
All right.
Yes, giant teeth. Yeah.
But we're not going to see anything too big until after the lamps, anyway. Right. So,
but kind of causes an explosion of diversity in Yavanna.
Yeah, of life. Yeah.
Where as soon as the lamps kind of come on, a green wave kind of shoots across the landscape into the horizon.
Flowers and
explosion of the first spring, right?
We
don't technically get flowers until
the sun
and the moon.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it depends. I said technically, it depends how you read it.
Yeah, I was going to say
flowers come under the feet of Fingolfin's hoard coming through.
Yeah, no, those flowers. Like, I know when the sun came out, that like flowers popped up right on the gates of Angband. But
right.
I don't think that necessarily precludes flowers before.
It doesn't.
It would be a lot more visually striking, though, when we see flowers for the first time.
But can we go 2 full seasons with no flowers?
That's another problem, yeah. Because then we're going to see the love story between Thingol and Melian with no flowers, and that makes me sad.
Well, what flowers were you expecting?
And the trees the golden tree has flowers. I'm just saying.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's a flowering tree. That's not a flower.
Mm-hmm.
So there you
go. There's flowers.
We will limit our blossoms to trees.
Okay, because we can have blossoming trees.
There are flowers called moonflowers. There are indeed. Anyway, let's not get too hung up on this. Okay, so can we start off seeing the lamps under construction?
Yep, or the pillars at least.
Yes, well, that's kind of what I meant.
Yeah.
All right, so I feel like this is a good chance for us to really get to meet Myron and Curufin.
Yeah.
Kurumo now.
Kurumo. Yeah, I'm Curufin.
It's not Curufin yet.
Is it Kurumo or Kurunir? Who is Kurunir?
Kurunir isn't that his name?
Later?
That what the elves call him when he comes to Middle Earth as an Istari?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Kurumo was his actual.
Karita says, Thingol and Melian, moonflowers. I am totally going to petition for this, but yes, moving on. Yeah. Anyway, before we get back
into tree flowers. They come on a tree.
All right. So
yeah, we could have night blooming tree flowers. I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to make sure we introduce.
I understand what you're trying to do. I totally understand. So we're seeing the pillars. We're seeing Aule, Melkor, Myron, and Kurumo. Maybe, and the proto-Balrogs.
Who else is involved in? Well, we kind of need 2 teams, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't feel like because the problem is if you take one person away from the project on one side, then you don't.
But wouldn't you want to have Myron talking to Melkor without Aule present?
Yes, and that's the thing is that we don't really want to have.
I mean, they don't need to do.
And Melkor his people on the other land.
Yeah, like
okay. Wait a minute. That's
one lamp and Aule in charge of the other lamp. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. I think we can work this out if we have Melkor in charge of one lamp, Aule in charge of another lamp, but Aule sends Myron to work with Melkor as his representative there. Melkor sends Gothmog to work with Aule as his representative there.
He's like, this is awesome.
Yes.
You guys are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. High five.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting high five.
Right. This is like the pinnacle of things working out.
Yep.
Tired from Marillion. The best it's ever going to get is right here.
And it's already
the episode
going completely wrong. Everything about it was
So what are we seeing though? Like we're seeing what, like a pillar of rock being built up?
I think they haven't figured out the pillar yet. I think they're kind of just building really tall mountains because that's what Aule knows, right? He's wide at the base and pointy at the top, which should kind of be his overall look, I think. He should kind of look like a man mountain and just get slowly narrower as he goes.
Pointy hat.
Oh man.
Yes, he should look like a dwarf and wear a pointy hat. That's like it. It'll look exactly like a mountain.
Not exactly. You get what I mean.
I know what you're going for. Okay, so
and maybe the innovation of we've done so much with. Have we really had like buildings yet? Did they build like a hall in?
They have buildings in Almarin, but they're not going to be like massive.
Right.
plinths or anything like that.
Sort of Grecian in that they're supported by pillars? Is that the angle that we're taking?